These don't look like much, but they're the key to maybe the best scone you ever ate. These are currants, and today we're making, I'm dropping them. Today we're making orange currant scones, which are one of my favorite scones. They don't look like much. People don't eat them as much as I think they should, but they are so good. The orange flavor with this concentrated currant flavor, it's almost like a mini raisin. These are so good. Hi, I'm Carolyn, and this is the Chili Bakes Gluten-Free YouTube channel and podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here to join me again. Always excited to have you with me in the kitchen. And today it's scones. We're making these amazing, tender, buttery, delicious scones, and you can make them too. So let's get to baking. Here's our dry ingredients. I already put the flour in the bowl. This is 2 cups of Cup4Cup Multipurpose Flour. This is a half a cup of blanched almond flour. I don't want the skins in there, but I do like the extra protein and taste that almond flour puts into baked goods, but it doesn't add an almondy taste necessarily. I feel like it just makes it richer. And this is 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar. In that goes, okay, and this is all the special stuff. This is a teaspoon of sweet rice flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and that's it. Salt, half a teaspoon of salt. So we're just gonna whisk this together. That's all we need to do. This is the easiest part of the recipe, but also one of the most important. You really want to pay attention when you're measuring your leavening, your baking soda and baking powder, and your salt, because if you miss any of those, your bake doesn't come out. So we're almost done here. We just want to get this completely mixed. And there we go. This is 1 orange worth, which is just about 2 tablespoons with a little extra if you want to add some to a glaze if you're going to do that. Let's juice this a little bit. We only need 1/4 cup for the, what am I making? Scones. There we go. That's probably 1/4 cup right there. Half of a very juicy orange. Oh, look at that thing. So the next thing we need to do is cut in the butter. So when I put this in a small bowl, that was just lame, because in order to cut in the butter, you need a larger bowl. So we're just going to transfer the dry ingredients into a bigger bowl. And then this is half a cup of cold butter. See how I cut it into chunks? You can make it smaller, it's easier to put in, but I just cut it in tablespoon size chunks, and in it goes. All right, so cutting in butter is nothing more than smushing butter into the flour, and it achieves that flaky texture you want from your scones. So you can do it in a food processor, but it makes it all the same size. But if you smush it between your fingers like this, you get these flat sheets of butter, and you want some bigger chunks. So you're just gonna keep doing this, and it'll take a little while, kind of rolling it through. This is the easiest way to do it for me, is with my hands. People can use a fork, or who else is gonna use a fork? You could use a fork to do it, or a pastry blender, but if you don't have one, this is actually easier. So here's the finished dry mix with the butter cut in, and see how it's a little bit chunky, but no huge chunks. And now we're gonna add the zest. I could put my fingers in here, why not? Oh my gosh, it smells so orangey. It smells so good. And that's the end of the dry mix. All right, we're gonna set this aside. Here are the wet ingredients. If you're not confident about cracking your egg, crack it into a bowl. That way you don't get shell. 1 large egg goes in. That's not orange juice. This is half a cup of buttermilk. If you can't find buttermilk, you can make sour milk by using half a cup minus a tablespoon of milk, and then you add a tablespoon or so of something sour, like lemon juice or like white vinegar. 1/4 cup of orange juice. Okay, and this is the one you're not expecting. This is applesauce. It's 2 tablespoons, and I swear you need this. So the reason I add applesauce is it helps keep the bake moist. You know how pumpkin bread is super moist? Well, this applesauce doesn't add any flavor, but it keeps your scone nice and moist too. So we're just gonna whisk this. Your scones will be more tender if you don't mix them that much. So if we mix the wet ingredients together instead of pouring them into the dry, they have a better chance of being tender. All right, it's wet into dry. It's just a quick mix here. Make sure you get all the dry stuff. And there you go. It's gonna thicken up a little bit. All right, there's no dry at the bottom. I forgot to throw in the currants. Normally I throw them in before I've mixed it all the way, but that's okay. I think I had too much caffeine and I just feel like weirdly jacked. It's great. All right, so we're just gonna gently put these in. Look at all those currants. Oh my gosh, they're gonna add so much flavor. Oh, so good. All right, we're gonna roll them out now. Oh my gosh, that's too much flour. You don't want that much flour. Flop them out here. Oh, yikes. A little flour in my hands. I'm gonna pat these out instead of roll them. You can roll them, but I like the bumpiness of patted scones. And make sure there's enough on the bottom. It doesn't stick. You might have to add more. Look at how cool. I'm kind of excited about this. don't want them super flat. Now that's a little tall. Maybe like 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. That looks pretty good. You can just pat this all day. It helps to have a biscuit cutter because it has a nice sharp edge. So just straight in. There we go. All right, we're gonna cut out the whole thing. We try to take as many cuts as we can the first time so we don't have to re-roll it. Once you re-roll it, it's a little tougher. Look at how cute. Isn't that sucker cute? I'm gonna put these on the tray. So now we need to re-roll this, right? So you wanna try not to put too much extra flour. Just pat that off. And we're just gonna smush this back together. They'll be a little bit funkier than the first ones, but they'll be fine. And we need to re-flour a little bit there. All right, pat them out. Still looking pretty good there. All right, let's put them on the tray here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So the last thing I like to do is add an egg wash. An egg wash is just a beaten egg. I add a little bit of water, and we're just gonna brush the top with it. And what this is gonna do is give it like a nice browning. And then the other thing I like to do is put some large grain sugar on it. It's so delicious. The scones aren't that sweet anyway. This is just a nice texture and crisp. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So these are gonna go into the oven for 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. Actually, I lied. I'm not putting them in the oven yet. I'm gonna let them chill while I preheat the oven. That chilling gives them even better texture. So since I live in a cold climate, I'm just gonna go put it on my garage freezer, but you could put it in your fridge. That would work too. Thanks for watching. If you love these gluten-free orange currant scones, be sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future recipes. Hope to see you again. Here they are right out of the oven. Look at that. They're like super craggy. Look at that pretty sugar on top. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, these are so good. I'm gonna get some butter. Here we go. Here's the best part of the bake, is actually eating the scone. I don't know what's hanging off there, crumbs. It's super soft, super, oh my gosh, look at the currants in there. They're like concentrated raisins, but they don't get soggy, so they have this really good flavor, and they're in tiny bits, so they're everywhere. Nicely browned, nice tender texture, lightly sweet with a hint of lemon zest. It's so, so good. Oh my gosh, these are so good. You're gonna have to try these. They're amazing, amazing. I love scones, and this is like one of my favorites. It's one that I feel like people don't make enough because it's kind of the sleeper scone. Anyway, it is delicious, tender, buttery, amazing, and gluten-free. So I hope you had fun with this bake with me. It's really hard for me not to eat the rest of the scone. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me again. I always love to have you with me in the kitchen, eating something fun and making something fun. Hopefully you learned something and maybe you're inspired to make oh my gosh, I keep saying cranberry, currant orange scones, because these are amazing and delicious and easy. So you can do it. Next bake is gonna be chocolate donuts. We're gonna bake those donuts and they're gonna be so good. You're gonna love that too. You're gonna wanna tune in for that. If you like this podcast and you know someone else who's gluten-free and who'd like to have more inspiration ideas, maybe you can share this podcast with them and they can join us. So until next time, eat something gluten-free and delicious. Look at this thing. This thing is amazing. As good as any scone I've ever had. Actually better than most of them. There's no hard dry in this at all. So good. Bye-bye.